So I finally sat down and read Vagabond. I finally read this VizBig. Now, before I get into the deep part of this review, this is probably going to be a very long review, and this is probably going to be a very long-running review series because I want to do an average of like a one-volume review a week. Or every 2 weeks, one or the other, but at the moment, I did not read this entire VizBig. Let me explain. Behind me, I have volumes 3, 4, and 5, right behind me. Volume 2 will not be in until sometime late next week, and judging by my schedule when it comes to Thursday, Friday, and the weekends, I don't have the time to wait around for, that volume, like, do the volume review the time it comes in, like, on a Friday or Saturday. And so, I'm going to probably review this little section right here for next week, and then I'll try to review the VizBig when it does come in 2 weeks from now. So, I'm just letting you all know that right now. I stopped at the point of when our main male character, Takizo, got the name Musashi. And that little name right there, that shocked the fuck out of me. Like, I was shocked. Like, I was so shocked to see how the main male character was called Musashi. Now, before I get into the details, let's just, show off the cover and stuff. There's the inside of the VizBig right there, the first page. I gotta like the quality of that. That's the cover on the outside. That is the border if you're lining it up on your shelf. And then there's the back. Otsu is on the back. So, yeah. Now, getting back on topic, okay, I stopped right at the part in this chapter. Let me find the exact page where I can show you all. I stopped at the part when Takizo took up the name of Musashi. And I was just so shocked when I saw it. I can't damn find this shit. Like, what the fuck? It's right in here. There we go. Okay. Right when this happens, when it reveals his name, I stopped reading. I'm just going to save the rest of this for a review next week. But I pretty much have the beginning of the story. I pretty much got the layout of what the story is about and what I should kind of expect and the journey from this point onward. So this video, I'm looking forward to this review series, just talking about this series, because my first impressions of it, it's probably going to be a very good ride that reminds me of Berserk, because the quality of this series already from the first volume has my interest intrigued. Like, I really want to know what is going to happen, because there's just so many different plot threads set up with this first volume, just this prologue. Like, this entire volume, almost, I guess you could consider a prologue. Now, I think there's a total of 3 volumes put into a VizBig, so there is, like, probably volumes 1, 2, and 3 in this VizBig, and I probably only read volumes 1 and 2, but I just want to let you know that's how the VizBig formats are going. So I'm guessing I'm going to be reviewing like 3 volumes a review, maybe 2 volumes. It really depends on the level of content in the future parts of Vagabond. So here's the thing. To start off, what is it about? What is Vagabond about? And should you read it? This series, I guess, is not going to be meant for everyone. That's just one thing I want to quickly say. The reason why is, I can already see from the workings of this series, from the beginning foundation and the pillars are starting to support this series, is that this is going to be a very deep series that has a lot of meaning, and it's going to be meant for mature audiences. It even says right here, explicit content. I guess it's because of the nudity and violence in it, but there's some certain themes in this little section I read of this volume that made me want to know more about the series and made me have a lot more respect for Vagabond because of the usage of the character development that our main male character, Musashi, went through. And the thing was, when he was tied up in that tree and getting that development and all that, that was a beautiful, beautiful segment of this volume. And I want to dedicate a little segment of this review to that. I'm just going to briefly over this volume. And then at the beginning, getting to see, how the fights were done, like the paneling of the fights with the sword fights and stuff. My god, they look fucking epic. Like, oh my god, they look so epic. Now, there's some certain violence in here I can't show you all because there is some nudity in this series. It's kind of like Berserk. I can't show you every single panel because of, nudity, YouTube, stuff like that. But the point of it is that the series is definitely a mature series. It really is. It's a samurai-based theme series. I'm guessing it's going to be historically accurate, too, because Musashi, as I know of, is a very famous swordsman from Japan that was legendary, a very legendary swordsman in the past. Now, I don't know the full background in history to Musashi as a swordsman. I'm not even going to pretend I know everything there is to know about him. I just heard the name muttered through my journey of watching anime and reading manga, and that's the reason how I recognize the name. And if I'm correct, I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, don't quote me on that. If I'm correct, I think Fate also has Musashi in it. I think Fate also has Musashi as one of these servants. I don't know if I'm correct, I don't know if I'm remembering the name wrong or not, so please forgive me if I am, but anyways, this samurai is very famous, and that is our main male character of the series. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, I'm going to learn a lot about this character, ain't I? Like, I'm going to learn some history of Japan, ain't I, while I read this series. Now, here's the question I want to ask all of you Chibits real quick before I get into some reviewing. Is this series, Vagabond, is it historically accurate? Like, does it follow history, or has the mangaka of this series, what's the manga's name? Takehiko. Okay, Takehiko is the mangaka's name. Did Takehiko actually follow history, or did he design this series in a different path, in a different direction from how history told itself? For instance, is this like an entirely new story, or is this just like a journey of a character that's history has already been told, but just from, I guess, artwork and, you know, storytelling with, you know, added things in it? If you could let me know in the comments below, I'd be very appreciative to actually see something like that. I'm just curious, because if this is following history, I'm going to make sure I avoid anything it is to do with looking up, you know, Musashi's character on Wikipedia or anything like that. I want to avoid that because I don't want to spoil this series for me, but please let me know. So anyways, getting into some details, I just want to start off the bat. The main male character's friend, Matahachi, I think that's his name, Matahachi. He's a scumbag. In my opinion, that dude is a scumbag. Like, he leaves Musashi by himself when he is fighting. He's fighting this, like, bandits, all these bandits by himself, and he's just fighting alone. His friend should be coming in there to back him up, but no, his friend wants to sleep with this thief and just runs off with her and leaves Musashi by himself as he's fighting to the death. That right there, very shitty friend, very shitty person in general for what he did to his fiancée or his soon-to-be wife, and what he did to his friend, his best friend at that. It just, the dude is, he's crusty as fuck. Like, I really want to see that dude answer for what he has done to Musashi at the beginning of this volume. I mean, he literally left his friend to fucking die just for a woman. I mean, the point is, I know he was a coward. He was scared. I understand that little segment of the beginning. It's just, it doesn't matter. The dude is like ass. He left his friend to die. And then you get to see the backstory, like in the middle of this. You see how our main male character, Musashi, he's remembering his past. And he was always, you know, spat at and cursed upon from his village members, his family, his father, his mother. And everybody didn't like him. He was called the Demon Child. And as he progressed through life, the only person that really communicated with him and had anything to do with him was Matahachi. And then all of a sudden, at the beginning of the volume, it kind of contradicts what happens in the later part of the volume, because Matahachi, as a kid, was constantly on Musashi's side. Always on his side. And to see how he just left him like that, I mean, it's just, I know he's going to appear later on. It's very obvious that character has some significance to the plot, because for him to run away like that at the beginning of the volume with that plot thread, with the thieves and stuff, it's obvious he's going to reappear. Maybe not next big volume, maybe number 5. Maybe number 5 out there he might appear. I don't know. The point I'm getting at is he definitely has some vital role to play, and I wonder if he is going to be a villain in the future. Like, what is Musashi going to do when he sees his friend again? Like, is he going to try to kill him? Is he going to just ask why? I mean, what is Musashi going to do? I mean, I have no idea. And that's the question I have right now after what happened at the beginning of the volume. Now, moving into the next point I want to talk about is the development that takes place in this volume of the VizBig volume. Like I said, probably volumes 1 and 2. The development that takes place shows us the inner workings of Musashi's character, his personality, his characteristics, and that's kind of what the entirety of this VizBig is, but it goes even further to give him some character development and show, like how he's going to change into a very good character in the near future, and that's what made me stop reading the volume at that moment, because I want to save that for next week. So, in his journey, like after his best friend betrayed him, Matahachi, he went to his home village. He went to his home village and all that to give some news about what happened to Matahachi. You know, he ran off, he's dead or whatever. And the grandma couldn't accept that, and he was being hunted down like a vagabond. Very nice name title right there. Vagabond, you know, Musashi's, you know, Vagabond. I like that. I like that little correlation right there. And Berserk took, like, till volume 26 to reveal the actual title name, like the title drop. So, I gotta hand it to Vagabond. I managed to do a title drop in the first volume. So, moving past that. The thing is, okay, you have it where Musashi goes to his home village, and he goes to relay the news that either Matahachi is dead, or, you know, he's with someone else and stuff like that, he's alive. And the grandma can't really accept this. She thinks he's lying, you know, he's not doing right, and she wants to kill him. So, eventually it turns out in the middle of the volume to where Musashi is being hunted down. He's being hunted down by the very villagers he grew up with, even though they constantly spat at him and looked at him as if he was a demon child or a demon itself, or a beast, a wild beast. He cared on him because they were his villagers. And then eventually they turned on him, tried to turn him in, tried to kill him. And he was running away in the forest. And in his quest of running away, he found out what he has been doing to so many people at the beginning of the volume. So here's the interesting parts where it starts playing into the works of Vagabond. The main male character, he wanted kind of an honorable death. Like, he was hanging in this tree. And he was going to die. Like, he was dying from starvation, dehydration. I mean, he was probably dying from frostbite and stuff like that because of the rain and stuff. I mean, he was just in deep shit. He was in hell at the time in this volume. And he wanted an honorable death. He keeps speaking in his mind, and he's like, kill me, monk. Kill me, you damn fool of a monk. Kill me. Kill me. That's what he's saying. And he wanted an honorable death. He didn't want, you know, a death to die like this, just hanging in a tree with his arms tied like this, and dying of dehydration, lack of food, and shit like that, and then crows picking on his body and eating him. He didn't want to die like that, which is very understandable. But then the monk brings up something very interesting and says, oh, really? So you feel like you deserve a honorable death after what you have done to all those people? I mean, I like the panel work of how the mangaka of the series was doing the panel work of the inner thoughts of our main male character. What he was thinking of how many people he cut down. You see all these different people that he's cut down with, like, different, like, body parts and limbs gone. They're sitting there grabbing at him and dragging him and all that and eating him and stuff like that. And then the monk is saying, like, what makes you think you deserve an honorable death after you give so many others not an honorable death? Like, what makes you think you deserve one? Because there's been countless people that have had fiancés, dreams, they wanted to have a great title, you know, they had children, they had pets, you know, so many people that you've cut down that have had these certain dreams or different things they've looked and strived for, and you killed these people, and you expect to have an honorable death, Musashi. That's what the monk was saying, and that really made me start thinking about how great this series is getting to see how this monk was just manipulating or messing with Musashi's mind and giving him just, you know, information of how you need to change, how you need to look at life, and you need to stop trying to be selfish and think you deserve an honorable death. And then as it continued on, you found out the entire motive of why Musashi was like he was because he wanted to be a title. Like, he wanted this title called Invincible Under the Sun. And I'm guessing that has reference to how Japan is, you know, the country of the sun or whatever. And so I'm guessing that has a reference to that. And you come to find out he wanted this title. But as he continues to sit there hung by a tree, and he's just hanging with lack of food and everything and having to piss on his own self, he realizes the title is empty. It's an empty title, and it means shit. It means absolute jack shit as he continues to sit there. And he realizes he needs to move on and figure out how he wants to have a fulfilled life. He needs to have a fulfilled life, and that's another thing that came into play with this segment of the volume. The monk was testing and giving a life lesson to Musashi as a person. He was like, can you honestly say, if I was to kill you right now, can you say you lived a fulfilled life? Alright, can you rejoice? Like, rejoice! Rejoice, Musashi. Rejoice right now. Rejoice that you have had a fulfilled life. Say it. Say it right now, you had a fulfilled life, that you lived a great life, and you can die happy right now by me. And you had it to where he couldn't say it. He could not say it because he did not live a fulfilled life. And that's when he realized the title of Invincible Under the Sun and thinking he is strong meant jack shit. And that is where the journey of Musashi started taking place. So that's the brief summary of it. And getting into some gritty details of the volume, the backstory of our main male character, the backstory is that his mother abandoned him. His mother abandoned him as a child and didn't want nothing to do with him because she was fearful of his father. And the father of Musashi was someone that was like a famous samurai, or a famous person, and he was just incredibly strong. He's a well-known person. And you had it to where he was a threat to his father, and his father didn't want nothing to do with him, and so you saw some conflict right there, how his own father shunned him away, and his own mother abandoned him. So he had some parent issues growing up, which, yeah, all good series need to have some good, parent issues, especially with what happened to Guts. We remember what happened to Guts at the beginning. Don't even want to remember that. I don't even want to remember that. There's just some things I don't need to get into. But, yeah, so, at the very least, Musashi didn't have as bad of a fucked up life as Guts, but it's still pretty fucked up. And I mean, how everybody shunned him and treated him as if he was a monster, and the only person to care for him was Otsu, or I think that's how you say it, Otsu and Matahachi. Now, actually, that's something I need to bring up. Otsu. I think that's how you say her name. It's the main female character of this volume. I personally believe she is going to fall in love with Musashi. I really believe she is going to fall in love with him, and she is eventually going to grow feelings for him, because after what Matahachi did, and abandoned her, and also went off with this other woman, and abandoned his best friend, I'm willing to bet that this girl is going to fall in love with our main male character, and they're going to have some form of relationship, because she also turns down the marriage proposal by that family of Matahachi's, and she just says, like, I'm done. Thank you for your generosity, I don't want it, and then she just goes her own way. So, from that aspect, you can assume that she might start falling in love with Musashi, and I wonder if that's how it's going to go later on, and is something tragic going to happen? See, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if this series is following history or not. I don't know if it's going to be tragic, if it's going to be, just a standard life of how he lived. I have no idea. I don't know how much tragedy I should expect, or how much sadness or dark, gritty themes, but yeah, I'm loving it so far. So that's just the plot. Now, let's get into the artwork. That's wow. Okay, so I expected some amazing artwork of Vagabond, and after reading Berserk, and reading how Berserk was with its symbolism and the way it does its artwork, I became more aware of certain things when it comes in artwork, like how panel work is done, and how much you should really appreciate the efforts of a mangaka when it comes to drawing and writing stuff with beautiful quality. I mean, there's just some amazing quality in this that is just, it's gripping. Like, look at this. Let me see if I can find a picture real quick. Is this, yeah, okay, this is a good picture. I can show this. Look at that color. I'm guessing the mangaka colored that. Just look at that quality of artwork. I mean, the backgrounds and all that just looks beautiful. And this is the first volume. The first couple of pages. And the artwork already looks realistic. Actually, that's actually something I want to get into. When it comes to the artwork of Vagabond, it's very realistic looking. Like, the characters actually look Japanese. Asian. They look Asian. When you read a manga, you don't realize how characters look. Like, you just look at them as a standard type of manga character, and you don't realize that the features of a character always don't look 100% Asian. They don't always do that. You can confuse them as, they look like they're, a white guy from America. That's how you can assume. And from that perspective, it's shocking to see how Vagabond has very Asian-looking characters. It adds this, persona or atmosphere to the manga when I'm reading. When I'm reading the manga, I feel like I am reading, some form of Japanese book. It looks like I'm really seeing Japanese people communicating with each other, because the artwork looks just, it's so different from a lot of things I've seen, and it's realistic. It looks so realistic. I mean, if you were to go a little bit more realistic, if you were to get live-action characters and paste this on it, I'm willing to bet you could probably make something very similar. Some of the stuff in this, it looks like live action quality. Some of it does. It looks so beautiful. The artwork looks really good. The backgrounds are stunning. And in terms of Berserk versus Vagabond, I guess a bunch of you are going to be asking that question right now. What artwork do I like better? Do I like Berserk's artwork or Vagabond's artwork? Now, honestly, I can't compare. I've read 37 volumes of Berserk. So I know what to expect from Berserk's artwork. When it comes to Vagabond, I'm relatively new. I don't have the best judgment when it comes to artwork. Like, you know, looking at this artwork in Vagabond and telling if it's better than Berserk. I can't say that. I gotta wait till I get really far halfway into Vagabond before I can make my own assumptions. But from what I will say from my personal perspective is that when it comes to character design, that's something I want to admit. When it comes to character design, Vagabond, I feel like, is probably going to beat Berserk. I feel like it will. See, Berserk has really good backgrounds. Some beautiful, beautiful backgrounds. Berserk does. It really knows how to just have this beautiful landscape and shit like that. And Vagabond does it too. It does it too, don't get me wrong. But Vagabond, clearly, in terms of the artwork, it's more focused on the characters. Like, the characters look a lot better than the backgrounds. But the backgrounds look good too. Just the characters look like they have a lot more attention to detail. Like, look at this detail right here. Look at the detail of our main male character on the bottom panel right there. That's some crazy-ass detail. Like, you really don't think much about it. When you're looking at this, you know, picture, you're not thinking much about it. You're looking like, oh, it's just a standard, you know, person, the main male character, in a panel. You're not really thinking much about it. But when you look at the facial features and the eyebrows and the way the eyes are done and all that and the character jawline stuff, it looks so realistic. And it's shocking to see how realistic some of the characters look. So yes, in terms of character-wise, when it comes to drawing the characters, artwork, it's probably going to beat Berserk. It's very obvious it's probably going to be, because this is the first volume. I can't imagine how it's going to look when I get, like, 4 volumes in. I can't imagine how the artwork is going to excel in quality. And so, yeah, that's pretty much my first impressions of Vagabond, the VizBig edition. So yeah, did you all enjoy the review? Did you hate the review? Let me know. Just wanted to give you all my thoughts about the series. This is probably going to be a very good ride. I already sense it. So yeah, expect another volume review next week. I don't know what time it's going to be. I don't have a set schedule for what day it'll come out, but there will be one next week. I promise you that. But like I said, there's no set schedule. It's going to work how my Berserk volume reviews worked. If I, let's say if I miss a week, I will make up for it and do 2 volume reviews the week after that. That's what I always do. I try to make up for that, so don't worry about that. But anyways, I will say this. It was fun. Great read. Go get a read for yourself. I want to go I want to go watch Full Metal Alchemist now. I want to go watch a couple episodes and do a review on that later tonight. So you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.